Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your NXT Takeover in your house preview and predictions. We have got not 5, which is usual, but 6 matches advertised for this show. But I'll still say this is one of the most stacked 5-match cards I've ever seen, and that 6th match that just got added last night is icing on this amazing cake. John, how are you feeling, my friend?
First and foremost, brother, you have an AEW match as a pre-show match on this card.
I fixed it already, jeez.
All right, well, I was still seeing it at that. I didn't know you fixed it.
I didn't know. You probably have to refresh to see an update.
But, yeah, looking at the card, this is one of the more stacked TakeOver cards in recent memory, which is really funny because if we're honest, in all these years, I don't know if I've ever seen an outright atrocious TakeOver. They've all either been solid or at the very worst, like, good. Nothing really game-changing, but good. A solid 2.5 hours. But this looks really strong. I'd give my hype for this, honestly, especially for the last 2 matches, a 9.5 out of 10.
Same,
I'm really looking forward to the show.
9.5, same.
Yeah, I'm really hyped for this, dude. So how are you feeling about it?
I'm so dude, here's the thing. When I was making this background, I didn't know who to omit. I knew I wanted to put the main sort of attractions that were on this card in the background because they don't really have like an official poster for this. They don't usually do that for takeovers. So I knew I kind of had to do like a manual job on this, and I couldn't decide who to put on it. So what I ended up going with was I basically said, fuck Charlotte Flair. We don't like her anyway. We don't consider her a part of NXT. She's not even listed as part of the NXT roster when you go on WWE.com and filter down to NXT. So fuck Charlotte Flair. We're not going to include her in the background at all. We're going to have faces on one side, heels on the other side. We're going to have champions standing tall above everyone else. And that's exactly what I did here. And I still left out all the women in that 6-woman tag and Balor and Priest. So there's still... Even though I feel like I got sort of the main attractions on the background, there's still a lot missing from the background that I could have added that I just ran out of room for. So that's how absolutely loaded this card is. We've got 3 out of the 4 NXT championships on the line. I guess, 3 out of the 7 if you include the NXT UK titles. And we've got 2 singles matches that are going to be off the wall, crazy, amazing. And we've also got this 6-woman tag match that we're going to start with. So if you want, we can start with that right now.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we've got Mia Yim, Tegan Nox, and Shotzi Blackheart taking on the team of Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Candice LeRae. So this is an extension of the Garganos versus Mia and Keith Lee feud. And obviously we had the Mia versus Candice match on Wednesday that broke down. Eventually, Mia was, beating down Candice, and then Raquel came out what it was Tegan came out and pulled Candice away, and she was all proud of her. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm stopping my friend from getting hurt. I'm awesome. This is great. And then fucking Dakota Kai just came out and fucked her plans up, started going after Mia again. And yeah, it broke down, and basically all 6 of these women got involved, and that's what set up this match. Very much looking forward to this match, but I do think that it feels the most sort of thrown together. Although, I will say, it's not actually thrown together because there is legitimate beef between all of these women. Because we already know, Tegan and Shotzi have been teaming over the last month or 2 against Dakota Kai and Raquel. So really, this is what they're really doing here is they're combining 2 feuds into one match.
Yes. I think it's effective, and honestly, I'm for more performers getting on a TakeOver card, so long as, TakeOvers are special, and I've always liked the small match card, because if you don't make the cut, you're just not there yet. You're just not in that program, or you personally just aren't on that level. But given the women involved, save for Raquel Gonzalez, who I still don't think is TakeOver ready, no. I'm cool with it. And plus, it's a 6-man tag, so even if she wasn't TakeOver ready, she's going to be working only a third of the match, really, if you do rotations right down the middle. So yeah, I'm going to go with the baby faces to win this. I think Mia, Tegan, and Shotzi are going to win this.
I agree. I think there's a really strong chance that Shotzi pins knowing NXT Dakota Kai.
Yeah, that's really fair, honestly.
Yeah, because it's one of those really weird situations where like Io is kind of a heel and kind of a face, and Rhea is like a badass face. So if either one of them win the title, I could really see anyone going after them, because like Rhea is the type of babyface champion where other babyfaces could go after her and it would still work. And I think that Io is just heel enough that that would also work. So I think that the face team is going to win here. And that's mainly because I feel like the person in this match with sort of the strongest amount of momentum behind them right now is Shotzi Blackheart.
Yes, I personally can't wait for Shotzi to get her own big takeover moment in terms of like an NXT Women's Championship match or something. I've really grown on her like the last month or so.
Yeah. All right, so up next, let's talk about the sort of least relevant singles match on the show. You know, the one with the least amount of hype by far, Finn Balor versus Damien Priest. I feel like this, realistically, this is more thrown together than the last match. Because the last match, like I said, they took two pretty well built up feuds and just shoved them in the same match. So that's the only level of like thrown together that is. This feels pretty random. Like, I know that these guys have kind of been involved. Like, really what it is Priest is targeting Balor. And it's kind of a really loose explanation of just like, oh, you know, this guy is a big deal around here and I want to take him down a peg or two. It's kind of flimsy is what I'm trying to get at. So I don't really care as much about this, but I'm still expecting the match to be a banger.
Yeah, that's my thing too. I definitely agree with you that it's one of the more lightweight stories, just because it really is a simple like, it really is just simple like, hey, you're this high on the card. I want to be that high on the card, so I'm going to pull you off of your spot and just supplant you for it, which is fine. You know, I honestly really appreciate a very simple story, especially if the people can deliver in ring, and I think you've got the performers that can do that. I'm going to be honest, bro. I feel like Finn's position in NXT, and this isn't a critique, I think he's protected really well.
Yeah.
I think he's presented as a big deal, but I think all of that is to service your next up-and-coming crop of either just NXT main eventers, heels, whatever you want to say about it. So I actually think Priest is going to get the win here, honestly.
See, that I do disagree with. I think that Finn is going to win here. I think that they're going to use Finn as almost like, you know, how they always talk about, like, in like cannibal stories, you know, they'll fatten people up before they kill them and eat them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's kind of the way that they're treating Balor. I think that they're going to build Balor up until they really want to use him to put somebody over, and that'll be like it'll be like waves. You know, he'll grow and he'll climb and he'll win, and then he'll lose to someone and kind of get built back down, and then he'll start climbing again. And it'll be like a wave, like up and down, and he'll just kind of hover around that spot where he's kind of between mid card and main event status in perpetuum or in perpetuity until they just decide to do something different with him. But for now, I think that he's on his way back up because I feel like he kind of reached a rock bottom already. I think that he's going to kind of climb his way back up now. And I think that they are, honestly, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if he was your next NXT UK champion.
Yeah, that's a fair point because I feel like, what was it, last TakeOver that he beat Gargano? That feels like so many TakeOvers ago. But I feel like that was his last really big TakeOver win, was Gargano. So yeah, I could totally see where you're coming from. I just still feel like Priest might be able to pull out the upset. So we'll see what happens.
You're thinking of Portland. That was in February. That was the last TakeOver.
Okay, so wow, my memory isn't that bad then. So yeah, I could see them having a string of TakeOvers. That meaning Balor, like a string of TakeOver wins. And then hell, maybe when the NXT champion is a babyface, because whoever beats Cole, I think, is going to be a big deal already because it's over a year-long reign. Yeah. But to really solidify it, if you beat somebody the caliber of Balor, it's like, yeah, I'm taking a deep seat with this fucking title. Do something about it.
Yeah.
That said, while I can completely be sympathetic to that logic, I'm still going to go with Damien Priest.
That's, you know what, dude? More power to you. I'm glad that you're sticking to your guns because that makes me feel even more confident that I'm going to be right on this one.
There you go.
The other reason is because if you would have jumped ship, I would have been like, fuck, we're going to be wrong.
Yeah, and then that's exactly what I mean. Not jumping on my ship, I feel confident that I'm going to be right. And I'll be like, well, sucks for you. All
right, so I'm picking Balor, you're picking Priest. I like that we disagree on something already. Next up, though, not a meaningful, not a meaningless singles match like you would expect, because there is another meaningless, quote unquote meaningless singles match on this card, but we're just so hyped for it that we gave it the main event spot, or the semi-main event spot. So let's talk about Keith Lee defending the North American title against Johnny Gargano, sorry.
And you were right the first time. Yeah, I mean, this story hasn't been bad. Johnny, I will say, is actually really effective as this type of heel.
He's such a slime ball.
I feel like it's actually an evolved form of like a Bo Dallas in a way, because like he's not, he doesn't think he's a good guy, but like
that's the thing though, because with Bo, like I feel like Bo was never really malicious. Like the most he would cheat was expose turnbuckle, whereas Johnny is like actively trying to ruin people's lives. Like he crushed Keith Lee's hand between the ring post and the steel steps when there was nothing else going on.
Yeah.
That's a move. I feel like that's just a step further than Bo ever would have gone.
I'm going to be honest with you, bro. I'm really torn on this match. In fact, this might be the match I'm the most torn about, save for the main event itself. Yeah. Because here's my thought process, right? You have Keith Lee overcome the odds, like with the broken hand and everything, beat Johnny. Then my mind goes to, we circle back to Cameron Grimes. And I would actually have Grimes beat Keith Lee, because of course I would. On the other hand, I could very easily see the broken hand being a narrative thread meant to service Keith and like protect Keith, but then you move him up to the NXT Championship picture. So I almost feel like I'm going to say, in a way, I feel like the NXT Championship match is like interconnected with the North American Championship match.
Yeah.
That said, like, because the new Gargano way, right? The Gargano NXT that's kind of Candice and Johnny's story, and mainly Johnny's story because Candice isn't allowed to have any agency or identity. I feel like it's about them doing things differently but being effective. You know, they won the mixed tag match on NXT. So I almost wonder if you'd be doing that story a disservice. And I love Keith. I know Javaris is here. I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to figure out a reason to put the title on Johnny. I love Keith. I'm just wondering if for the greater story, if it would really make sense to have Johnny lose in the first big matchup as this new Johnny Gargano in a way. That's really like, you know, me and Candice are going to take over the world now.
You know what? God, you're right. Now that you are talking about it, you're really getting me to kind of double think too. Because, like, there's also kind of a matter of, like, who else is there, right? Like, if Keith Lee would retain, I guess Kross maybe, but I feel like he should go straight to the world title and skip the NXT, the North American title.
Agreed. I actually completely agree with you on that, yes.
But then, like, after that, though, then who's left? Like, they're really, I don't know.
I mean, again, unless you circle back to Cameron Grimes and give him the title, because he did just beat Bronson Reed.
Yeah, Grimes would work. Grimes would work. That's a good...
And the only reason I'm saying that too, let me just clarify. Yes, I'm a huge Cameron Grimes fan. He's one of my favorite NXT but he did beat Finn Balor recently thanks to Damien Priest, and now he beat Bronson Reed on the Take Home show. He's on a winning streak. At the same
time, think about it on the other way. If they put the title on Johnny, who does he have to mess with other than Keith himself? Like, we're not going to do Johnny versus Keith Lee every time. So who does Johnny move on to? Because I feel like that. You almost have an even harder time with that, because then it can't be Cameron Grimes, he's a heel. Can't be Kross, he's a heel. You know, it's not going to be Ciampa again. They wouldn't revisit that again at this point, would they?
No, I really don't think they would.
Maybe Thatcher, I guess?
I don't even think they're allowed to visit it again, Ciampa Gargano, because of the stipulations of their final encounter. Just saying, like, it's over after this, you know?
Yeah, that's true. You're right. So
and I don't feel like,
Thatcher really would be the only guy that you know, thanked him McLean Roach for even bringing him up. Swerve is a face. He's not a heel. Like, I feel like, or no, actually, no, that would work. So Swerve would work, but also they treat him like a junior. They treat him like a cruiserweight. So I don't really know if they would. I don't know. I feel, you know what? Because of this little thought exercise, I am going to say Keith Lee retains, because I think that with Keith Lee, there's an easy answer that you could go to in Cameron Grimes that they've already been building up. Whereas with Johnny, we don't have that. We don't have that easy, like, oh, this is obvious, you know?
Yeah, brother, I actually, after really mulling it over, just the idea that they're building up Cameron Grimes, I'm going to agree with you. I think Keith retains, but I will say I am 90% sure Cameron Grimes is going to be your next North American champion, and I am fucking here for it.
Although I will say Thatcher is another good option, because Thatcher is another heel that could go after babyface Keith Lee. So that would make sense too.
Yeah, I will say, I agree with that. I think Cameron Grimes, just because of the win streak, and Timothy Thatcher, because he looked like an absolute badass in that cage, are the two most credible contenders to go after Keith.
And let me just say, too, and this is a strong if Adam Cole retains against Velveteen Dream on this show, I am going to declare officially on the spot, Keith Lee is your next NXT champion.
Yeah.
Because to me, the timeline is Adam Cole, if he successfully defends against Dream, I don't really care who he faces next, because at the next show, we're getting, Keith Lee's going to lose his North American title. Adam Cole's going to retain against whoever they put him against. And then on the following show after that, I think Keith's going to beat Adam for the title. Now, that's assuming that everything else kind of goes to plan. But if Adam does retain, I don't care if Keith Lee retains or not. If Adam retains, I am officially saying Keith Lee is the next NXT World Champion.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So that being said, we both picked Keith Lee to retain, so let's move on to our NXT Women's Championship. Omitted from the background is your actual champion, Charlotte Flair, defending against Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai, who are on the poster because they're official NXT roster members. This is another really tough one, but I hate to say this, but I'm picking Charlotte to retain.
I loathingly, and not because of your face, but because of how right it actually is, agree with you.
Yeah.
Because I've been hearing that Io's going to get called up, and I believe it. I'm really curious what she's going to do, if she's going to join Kyrie and Asuka, or if she's just going to be a source of tension for them. And the only reason I go to that... Or
she's just not even going to be on the same show as them. That's possible.
That is also possible. I don't know, though. With Vince, his imagination isn't that inspired, so we'll see how it goes.
That is true. Yeah, Vince loves putting people of similar ethnicities together.
Never forget that R-Truth and Kofi Kingston were once a tag team.
R-Boom.
But what's the story? Well, isn't it obvious?
Just look at him, goddammit.
And they both just look at each other. They realize what's happening. They sigh, and they're like, "Sure, Vince." So, yeah. Here's my problem, though. It's not that because I just said that I agree with you, so I'm not backpedaling on that. My only problem with Charlotte retaining is Shotzi. I wish she was and see, I was going to say, let me just finish my thought here, because I agree with you about Shotzi. I just wish Charlotte, I mean, really, to put it bluntly, didn't suck at this. Because if she sold and was a quality heel, like Shotzi beating someone like Charlotte would be a huge fucking deal, right?
You mean kind of like the way it was a huge deal when Shotzi eliminated Shayna from that Battle Royal? Like that literally was a moment that you could say contributed to making Shotzi feel like a big deal in NXT?
Precisely.
Because of the way that Shayna sold it? Yeah.
Yes. And
I apologize for interrupting, but imagine how awful Charlotte must be at this, that she's been wrestling for longer than Shayna Baszler, from a younger age than Shayna Baszler was when she started, and she's still worse than her.
Yeah. And so I'm cool with that. And to be fair, if Shotzi is endgame, just Charlotte Flair being Charlotte Flair, because I will always repeat this because this is one of the first, I won't say iconic things I said on Twit, but one of the first, memorable sound bites I had. You are what you're booked. And because Charlotte is booked the way that she is, even if she does everything awful in between, it's still going to be big for Shotzi regardless. I just hope that's true. Because if Charlotte does retain here, which again, we both agree on, the only people I can see are Shotzi or Mia in a rematch. Because, I'm honestly not here for Tegan. I think her comeback story is beautiful, but I'm kind of over her, truthfully. And yeah, I'm just looking right at Shotzi to get that next big takeover matchup. And you know what the worst part is? Because Io's getting called up, which, I get. She's going to be the one to eat the finish again. I just, fuck. You hate to see it, but I think it's going to be a really fun triple threat, to be fair. I think
there's actually a, I won't say really strong, but I would say not insignificant chance that Charlotte versus Shotzi is more of like a filler feud for Charlotte, and then she comes right back around to Rhea, and Rhea beats her in November-ish.
Yeah, which is it bad that my interest in Rhea has also kind of taken a hit?
No, it's not bad, dude. That's the entire problem with what they did in the first place. They took the title off Rhea while she was at her hottest. And now they feel like they can't give it back to her right away, even though Charlotte has a history of extraordinarily short title reigns because they're just trying to pad her stats so she can catch up to Daddy. But this is the one reign that they're just like, no, we've got to pat it out. She needs to have it for a long time.
So Vince, we're just gonna make her drop it at the next, or no, Vince doesn't have a hand in NXT, thankfully.
Yeah.
But, so we're just gonna let her drop it at the next takeover? No, let it simmer. And it's like nobody wants this.
Yep.
But yeah, like I'm sorry, my interest in Rhea has really taken a hit precisely for what Ashton said. Like you have her beat Shayna, who was this dominant champion, have the big celebration in the ring, almost like a fucking mosh pit in there, and like, So. Please, for the love of God, I hope Shotzi becomes the next contender, because Foster's right. Shotzi being the next contender isn't even a guarantee. And either, I guess you circle back to Rhea and you retell that story, I guess. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on Rhea. Or, again, what I would prefer, you circle back to Mia, because I think there'd be enough time between her last NXT Women's Championship match with Shayna and then her being a new contender getting her own separate short story with Charlotte. So, yeah, Charlotte to retain. Hopefully it's not a bad match.
All right. I guess we both agree on that. Let's get to our semi-main event. And when I say our semi-main event, I mean our, like yours and mine, semi-main event. The match that we are the most excited for on this show, set aside the main event itself, the world title match. Karrion Kross versus Tommaso Ciampa. Jesus Christ.
This was because, it's always, I think I even had this question on TakeOver Portland, where Ciampa, who is just fucking iconic as a heel, was a babyface. And I'm like, well, him being a babyface makes sense, for the Gargano feud, because of course this story would be so long that and just so many things happening that you'd see these guys switch sides. But what do you do with him as a babyface after that? This is the best thing you could have done with Ciampa post Gargano, because this is just getting Kross on the map immediately.
Yep.
Besides
they're kind of doing with Ciampa what they're doing with Balor. Like, those two guys are kind of in the same spot right now.
Absolutely. I think the promos have been great. I think the story, because this is actually a very similar story in a way to Priest versus Balor, but I think it's just got so much more hype behind it and attention, and it just comes off better to me because of that. I'm just going to keep it brief. Kross wins. I don't see how you don't have Kross win in his first big and this is a big takeover match right out of the box.
That's the really interesting thing to me, is like, is there a way for Ciampa to win this without bitching Kross out?
Right. I personally don't think so.
Because to me, if you think about it, if Kross wins this, where does he set his sights on next? You think maybe Balor? Maybe? Like, honestly, that is the most reasonable response, but I don't want it, because I feel like that's almost going down. Like, that's almost a downgrade from Ciampa in NXT.
Yeah.
So if Kross wins this, what's next?
And then again, we come back to the NXT title, which I feel like the NXT Championship is getting ready to be a really crowded picture. I don't know why.
Well, dude, even if you want to say that, the fact that we have a heel champion right now, that was gonna we almost should have talked about the world title match first, because I wanted to ask you, what do you think the chances are? And I might be the first and only person to bring this up, so this might be just complete idiotic speculation that it's completely baseless and nobody agrees with and makes no sense. What do you think the chances are that we get a double turn in the world title match? Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era turning face while Velveteen Dream turns heel.
I would say low, only because we also have to remember, since we are kind of already talking about this while the Kross Ciampa matchup is in the queue here.
Yeah.
That Dream may very well be getting called up if the reports are to be true. So I don't know if they'd want to do that. Like, it would just be weird to do a turn that you're not even going to be able to see the story unfold on that particular brand.
Okay, so maybe a little more subtle, though. What do we think the odds are that Adam Cole does a subtle face turn going forward after tonight? After, if he does successfully defend against Dream, what do we think the chances are that he does kind of a subtle face turn and Kross challenges him, being the heel challenging the babyface champion then?
Honestly, I'm going to give it a modest 10%. And here's why. I'm even giving it a percentage at all. He's been champion so long, it's like the inverse Punk. Punk was champion so long to keep the title reign fresh, he changed alignments. Right. I feel like Cole's actually proof that the opposite is also true. When you're a heel and you destroy all the heroes, what's left but for you to become a hero yourself? So, like, I actually would put a margin of percentage on that.
Yeah,
Not
and
a
that's
big one,
that's another interesting thing that we haven't even talked about. Dexter Lumis might be in Kross's way if Kross wants the world title. But that's the thing though, is I don't know if Kross is immediately going to set his sights on the world title, because he could have done that from the get-go, but he chose to go after Ciampa instead. Maybe he has a specific type of target in mind that we just don't know about. Maybe it will be Balor. Maybe we'll get Kross Balor as another kind of opportunity to build up Kross towards the main event, and a way to kind of give him that padding so that it's not like, oh, it's too soon, he's not ready yet, from the jackasses that think that way.
And can I just pipe in with my own misgivings about that? I would buy Dexter Lumis being a roadblock to anybody's NXT Championship aspirations if he didn't lose to Roderick Strong very recently clean.
Yeah, like, that's true. That's true.
He got his momentum back, choking him out, but like Strong beat him straight up.
Man, NXT, the like upper mid card to main event scene at NXT is so crowded. I think Fox actually made a really good point earlier that he's kind of sick of seeing all the same faces. I think that's a perfectly valid point. I think that it really is very crowded right now. And also because they treat the North American title almost like a main event title in and of itself. But it's very clearly a notch below the actual world title, because every time they're both on a show, the world title main events. So like, it's one of those things where the North American title and being the North American champion brings with it all the same perks as being the world champion, the TV time, the mic time, the opportunities for matches with people, all that stuff, but you're never going to main event. So it's really interesting, because I think that those two titles, even though it's very clear that the NXT world title is considered to be a notch above the North American title from a prestige credibility standpoint, I think that they're both main event titles in a way. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of instances where somebody will go after one and then go right after the other, and they're just kind of going back and forth trying to just win a title, you know? And
yes. I
also feel like, wasn't it Johnny Gargano that dropped the NXT title and then immediately won the North American title within months?
Yes.
So, like, I really do feel like the North American title is another main event title, because they keep their main event players in that title scene, and both of those champions consistently, and their feuds, consistently get TV time every single week. So it is just a really crowded upper mid-card to main event scene, because you've got Adam Cole, you've got the Undisputed Era, and I think Roderick Strong is in that conversation because he's always challenging for the North American title. You've got Keith Lee and his feuds, which, you know, including their feuds, we've also got then Velveteen Dream and Johnny Gargano. You've got Kross and Ciampa, you've got Balor, and then on the periphery, you've also got Walter and his whole crew, and you've also got Priest, and you've also got Grimes, and you've also got Dexter Lumis. There's so many people in that conversation right now that it is just really hard to say, oh yeah, Adam Cole's gonna just keep winning. You know what I mean? And not only that he's just gonna keep winning, but that he's gonna keep staying the same while winning.
Yeah, because the only positive about Cole staying heel would be if you really groomed a babyface, which again, Keith, I just feel like is on fucking call. He just needs to drop the North American title first, unless they wanted to do. Now, I mean, since you already mentioned the idea of a double turn, I'll take my liberties, since, you know, it's our preview predictions, and put another crazy idea out there. Unless they did a title versus title matchup for a big takeover, Keith Lee versus Cole, winner takes all.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to say, fuck it. But I don't like that idea.
No.
I can tell you, even though I brought it up, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I like the titles being, because I can tell you, aside from Naito making history, I don't like that every matchup, well, you know, when we get back to New Japan, which I miss so much, I don't like the idea going forward that it seemed like before everything ended, every match is going to be like a double title match in a way. Like if you lose both titles. I like titles like this being individuated. So I don't like that. I really don't know what you do here.
God,
we're still
you know what though? We're still on Kross Ciampa. Yeah, we're still on Kross Ciampa. But the reason that I am struggling so much is because I feel like if not Keith Lee, I feel like Tommaso Ciampa is the best candidate to be your next world champion.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I have a hard time saying, oh no, Ciampa's going to lose here, because I feel like he still hasn't really gotten his proper shot at Adam Cole as the world champion yet.
Yeah. Fuck.
Although, you know what? I'm obviously just wrong because Ciampa did lose to Adam Cole at TakeOver Portland. I feel like we need to go back and rewatch TakeOver Portland because I feel like I just forget a lot from that show.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm still going to stick with Kross only because of my earlier statements, but you've given me a lot to think about. Like, I just wonder, especially with these call-ups now, because we always talk about, like, the waves NXT goes through, and I look at each class, because they call it developmental, as kind of a graduating class in a way, or a demoted class, depending on our cynicism. But I just wonder what the next big wave for NXT is going to be, because we're talking about the women. I definitely see Shotzi being a part of it for the women. Yeah. But then I think about, like, the men's and stuff, and it's like, well, I could see Cameron Grimes for North American.
Yeah, I was going to say,
like,
I think it's like title. Grimes, Kross, Loomis, maybe Swerve if we're lucky and they actually, let him fight with the big boys.
Yeah.
Maybe even Hijo del Fantasma in the same situation if we're lucky and they let him fight with the big boys.
I'm really excited for him as Cruiserweight champion, but yeah, I would want him to be like an Ospreay type. He does some stuff with the Cruiserweights, but then he moves up in weight class and he just fucking owns the world.
Yeah.
So I'll go with Kross, but man, I have a lot of questions about what NXT is going to look like going forward after a show like this.
You know what? I'm just gonna kind of hold my breath and pick Kross. As much as I hate Ciampa losing 2 takeovers in a row, I guess it's just something that we're just gonna have to deal with. I don't want to see Ciampa kind of get beat, and especially really it would be 3 big shows in a row because he also then lost to Gargano on like the sort of WrestleMania takeover type NXTs that they aired.
Yeah, and just to kind of expound upon that, because I've been thinking about this too, since I knew from very early on that I was going to pick Kross. From the moment the match was announced, I'm like, oh man, what a way to put Kross over. I wonder if this is going to be how they transition Ciampa back to heel, though, because he's going to be frustrated with losing. Like, I could see after him losing a match like this, him having one of those backstage promos with like his camera or whatever, or he's backstage and he's pacing, and he's just like, I am NXT, and then this guy Kross comes in and he pushes me out of my spot, and I could see myself falling down the ladder. Something needs to change, and I think that something is me, and that's how he goes back to being a heel. And then again, I don't know like what the
I feel like everyone's kind of pulling for Ciampa to turn heel. I feel like I know we've talked about this before.
Yes,
to me is face for life in NXT. So what that really means to me, the fact that you're already saying like, oh, maybe he needs to turn heel, he needs to get called the fuck up.
But I don't think he wants to be. Because I heard a while back that like he didn't want to be called up because I think he likes the schedule on NXT, especially after his neck surgery. And I think he's a lot like Balor in the sense that he wants to build up NXT, whereas he may have a fear that he get lost in the shuffle in the mirror, which, to be fair to Ciampa, isn't an unfounded fear. He's got a good thing going in NXT. But here's the thing, no good thing ever really lasts. Even if he stays there,
I feel like he's being passed by in NXT right now. I feel like he is being relegated in NXT right now.
Yeah, because I look at him, and you could already tell, like, in my eyes, he's being, like, relegated, because in my eyes, he's become a legitimizer talent. Like, he's not, like, a main event core guy that's, like, because he had his big title run, which, unfortunately, he couldn't finish. But now I look at him as the guy that's, like, you're going to cut the really good promos, You're gonna do all the work, and it's not like you're just gonna keep losing, mind you, because then you'll be worth nothing. But for the acts that we're really excited about, like Karrion Kross, you're gonna legitimize them and you're gonna put the big stamp on them.
Yeah,
that's how I see Ciampa right now.
Yeah,
yeah.
I really do think he needs to just move up. Like even if he doesn't want to work on Raw, or if he has a preference, like let him pick where he goes, but like let him pick who he wants to work with, whatever. Like he. Maybe Adam Pearce being in charge of SmackDown now will kind of reinvigorate his interest in working there, because I know he and Pearce go way back as far as I know. So that might be a thing. But yeah, to me, Ciampa is just a guy that is, it's almost another Balor situation, really, because with Balor, I felt like he just held the championship for way too long, and it was so overdue when he finally did get called up, and I'm going to feel the same way about Ciampa.
Yeah,
I just, I'm agreeing with you though. I'm picking Karrion Kross to win. Just hate to see Ciampa on this losing streak.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, let's get to our main event. God damn it. Adam Cole defending the world title against Velveteen Dream. Does anybody think that there's any chance that Dream actually wins here? Because there are pretty prominent rumors lately that he's getting called up within the next month.
Bro, before those rumors, I would have had a 95% chance that Dream wins the title here.
Wow.
And that's even, and keep in mind, that's even with his own personal controversy, because I feel like they moved past it. Hell, the idea that he still has a job tells me that they moved past it, because those were serious allegations.
Yeah.
But now these rumors, and that's the thing. That's the last time I'm going to mention Dream's personal business, because I'm moving past it just in the sense of he still has a job. He's still going to be a part of our lives, at least as far as a performer goes. Looking at it from that side, if there are rumors of him getting called up, you know, it would make sense for Cole to retain. On the other hand, though, I'm also hearing rumors that Cole's contract is expiring. When did they say it was expiring?
August.
So we're still a little ways away.
Yeah, we're basically, we've got like the SummerSlam takeover if they want to have him drop the title if he doesn't resign. But I'm assuming he's just going to resign.
Dude, I think Cole would be crazy not to resign. I get that his girlfriend's in AEW, and I'm not even saying that mockingly. Like, I am serious. I understand someone you love is in another company.
His fiance.
But, oh, shit. Then I stand correct. His fiance. Congratulations, Cole. But, like, his spot is so strong right now, dude. Don't walk away from that. Because, dude, here's the thing, and I know we've been cynical before, and maybe this is just me being stupid and making the same mistakes, but I really do feel like Cole is different. Like, I feel like Cole is the type of guy that WWE would want to put on their WrestleMania programs as like a marquee matchup on a WrestleMania.
Yes.
I absolutely still believe that all this time later. And I think Cole wants them to commit to that with a dollar amount. Like, show me how you value me. And I think they will come to a deal. I absolutely do. He's been champion so long. Like, and again, I still think Keith Lee, oddly enough, is the best one to do it. I don't know. I think just because of everything.
The problem is how many people there are in this picture, you know? Maybe, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not even going to, I had a thought and then I just dropped it. Fuck it. Just say what you want.
Are you sure?
I was thinking multi-man match at the next takeover, but like, you're not going to involve the North American champion in that. So really the to me, the best option, the best way that they could possibly go about, you know, pressing the panic button, Adam Cole isn't re-signing, is to have Keith drop the North American title on TV to Killer Kross and then challenge Adam on the next takeover and win the title from him.
Chief, and I actually love that finish. Like, narratively speaking, if I didn't believe Dream was getting called up, that would be perfect. Because didn't they throw him off a production truck to cause the injury kayfabe-wise?
I mean, yeah, but they never do shit like that. They don't do callbacks like that.
Well, that's why I'm saying it would be just so fucking good, because they don't. And I just feel like it'd be narratively perfect. The same thing you destroyed me with, I'm going to destroy you with. But yeah, just because of the rumors, and again, like I said, I'm not even factoring in the Dream stuff. I do think he's going to move on up. I don't know if Vince knows what he has in Dream, but it's whatever. I'm sorry, Javaris, but I like to look at every angle. But yeah.
Dude, you really don't need to apologize. This is literally our job. Our job is to
answer. Yeah, because, like, again, before these rumors started, I would have 100% picked Dream. Because when you think about it, their first title match, he got screwed, and he had Cole beat. So, normally when they do stories like that, it's, you know, you get the rematch, and then the babyface gets their, like, comeuppance, you know? But this totally threw a wrench in everything. I'm not going to overthink it, even though I probably already did. I'm going to go with Adam Cole to retain. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, though. This and Karrion, Kross, and Ciampa, I'm watching with very close attention, because I think it's going to say a lot about NXT.
That's the interesting thing about this takeover, man, is that I would say at least 3 of these matches could go either way.
Yeah.
And then really, 3 isn't even fair. I would really say the only match, and frankly, even this match, because of the rumors of Dream being called up, I'm pretty confident that Cole's retaining here. But other than this, the only match that I'm even somewhat confident in is Balor beating Priest, because and you even disagreed with me on that. So like, this is a very up in the air takeover for sure.
Let me ask you, man, because I'm really just curious at this point. If the Dream rumors weren't happening, are you kind of with me that you would have been confident about Dream winning, or do you think Cole's just been so dominant that's not a sure thing?
If there were no rumors and nothing had been said whatsoever that Dream was potentially going to be getting called up soon, I would probably pick him to win too.
Yeah, that just totally fucked me up. So I'll go with Cole. But they really need to like do something with Keith Lee because I keep imagining him as the next NXT champion. I want him to drop the title to Grimes and then move up. That's really what I want. Just like drop the title to Grimes, beat Cole, then you go on a new reign that I think could really be fantastic. But we'll see.
Oh man, yeah. This is a very up in the air pay-per-view or takeover, I should say. So it's in your house, but it's also up in the air, so it's like up.
Love it.
All right. So I feel like we're being fucking rushed by Javaris over here. So
yeah, simmer down, sir.
Yeah.
But
I really don't. I don't think I have much else to add. But there's just a lot. I think that what I love about NXT is also what makes it as hard to pick this kind of stuff as it is, because I love that they're kind of giving something to almost everyone. I won't say literally everyone. I'll just say almost everyone, because they're not as good as Lucha Underground about making sure that even the lowest ranking people on your roster still have something to do. Like Lucha Underground was the master of that. I would still say though that NXT gives like the top 70-ish% of their roster something to do, you know?
Right.
These predictions. So I'm thinking every champion retains. God damn it. Kross beats Ciampa. Balor beats Priest, and the babyface women win the 6-woman tag match. You're picking, I believe, all the same, except you're picking Priest over Balor. That's the only change, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think that about sums it up. As far as the NXT title, I'm hoping Keith Lee is the next champion, backup being Ciampa. As far as the North American title, Grimes or Kross. I personally think Kross needs to just go straight to the main event, but if they feel like they need to take him and kind of park him with the North American title scene for a little while, I could understand that. Women's championship, Charlotte is going to fucking reign. I wouldn't be surprised if they had her still eventually drop the title to Rhea after some time. But I'm guessing that Shotzi and maybe Tegan are going to be kind of the interim, like the filler feuds. Tegan, I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to really get behind her and have her take it. But
yeah. So
those are like the main titles that I just wanted to kind of talk as far as the future goes. Is there anything else that you want to say before we close out of here, man?
No, I think I'm still really hyped for this. I don't think my score changed like for the better, and certainly not for the worse. I still think I'm at a really solid 9.5. I think this is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I was thinking about maybe going down to like a 9, but that's just because I feel so uncertain. But when we actually get to the show, the uncertainty isn't going to be a negative. It's going to be a positive. So it's going to be more exciting. So I'm going to stick at the 9.5.
All right. I want to thank you guys for joining us. We have 7 likes, and we have 14 people watching now, double the likes. So if you haven't liked this video yet, please do so. And we're going to see you guys tomorrow at 5 for Unforgiven 2006 live reactions, a Twit Wow request live. Who made that request again, Ashley?
Craig.
Craig Skiff made that request, so thank you very much, Craig. That's going live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. And then it's a doubleheader because at 10:30 Eastern Time, we have WWE Catch-Up Commentary, which hopefully will go a lot better than our last one. So here's to that. That'll be at 10:30. And yeah, is that it for the week, or do we? Because I know we have Takeover Sunday, obviously.
Right. We have Takeover Sunday, and then we have another request for next Tuesday, and then NXT next Wednesday.
Okay, but nothing Saturday though, right? Just leapfrog that, and then Sunday Takeover.
I think you're correct. Let me pull up the schedule and just make sure. Yes, Saturday's clear.
Awesome. All right, guys. You heard it. So we'll see you then. I'm going to hand it over to Ash and take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you all enjoyed our Takeover preview and predictions. Let us know what you think is going to happen on the show down in the comments as soon as this video is fully processed. You can also like this video if you enjoyed. You can subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click that bell icon to join the notification squad. Follow us over on Twitch and click that bell icon as well to get notifications over there. You can also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can subscribe over on Twitch. But you can also buy our merch on Teespring, donate to our Patreon, share this channel and this video with all your wrestling fan friends, and let them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube and Twitch wrestling communities. That's right, we are Twit Wow, and we are the workhorses of the YNTWCs. And while you're letting people know on social media, you can also be sure to follow us on Twitter and like our Facebook page. As far as the next week, I already kind of went over it. We have got a double dose for you tomorrow. 5 p.m. Eastern Time is going to be Unforgiven 2006 live reactions. Then 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night, we will be doing a catch-up commentary covering this and last week's Raw and SmackDowns. Then on Sunday, we will be live reacting to Takeover in Your House. Then on Tuesday, we've got a request from the Chiefin. It's 4 individual matches. It's all Brit Rest stuff. So, if you guys are into that, be sure to join us there. And then, of course, next Wednesday, we will be following up Takeover in Your House with live reactions to the post-Takeover in Your House episode of NXT. Hope that you all appreciated that. Hope that you all enjoyed this. Hope that you're all looking forward to all of that. And most importantly, I hope that you're all able to remember to stay tuned.